friends, it's Crafty Cassie, and I am really excited to share my 10 cards from Love From Lizi's April 2023 card kit. Actually, there's more than 10, but I wanted to start with a couple of things really. One is this is my first video, yay! So I hope everybody will be kind, and I'm really excited though. Today what I'm going to do is just show you the cards and talk about how I created them. Then hopefully going forward with the next video I'll be able to do some process videos, which are always fun. The other thing is I thought I should mention that at the end of last year, I was diagnosed with salivary gland cancer. They went in and operated and removed my salivary glands and some thyroid, half of my thyroid. And so what that means is I have a really cool scar, and it also means that I no longer have cancer, which is a fantastic thing. But it also means that during that operation, the nerves on the right hand side of my face have been damaged, so the muscles and the nerves, they don't really work right. So yeah, and I'm a bit nervous about that, and to be honest, but because it makes it look different when I speak. But I'm hoping that by doing this I can show that, you know, it doesn't really matter if you have different things that make you different. You can still craft like crazy mad and make some beautiful cards. So that's what I'm here to do. And I also tell my daughter all the time to be brave. Don't worry about what other people think. So I'm going to try to take the same advice. Hello, and let's get started. So Love From Lizi's April 2023 card kit came with these beautiful stamps for spring wishes, and we have flowers and watering cans and rain boots. I guess they're called wellies in the UK, and some beautiful paper and cut aparts. And I will just get started with my cards. So the first card I made was this one, and it is Life With You Is Beautiful. And what I have done is I always like shapes that are a little different, so I actually started with cutting a triangular type shape and put that on, mounted that on some dark purple cardstock from my own stash, and I started from there. And then after that I also used this beautiful, oh my god, I'm a purple fanatic. I don't know if you can tell that, you'll see from all these cards, but this beautiful lilac and darker purple pattern paper. So then once I had the foundation, I wanted to create something like a tag here, and I have this beautiful sentiment that is Life With You Is Beautiful, but I didn't want the tag to clash with the other colors. I always like most of the time to use the same color scheme. And so what I did is I took some lilac paper and I took this stamp, the one here, which is the leaf, and I embossed it with clear embossing powder all over the paper, and then I cut it into the shape and mounted it on the darker cardstock. For the Life Is Beautiful, it was very white. I'm not sure if the camera can pick up, but I took a little bit of Dusty Concord Distress Oxide, which is here, and very, very lightly took a brush over top of it just to give it a little bit of color around the edges. And then my two little butterflies here. The kit came with these beautiful little butterfly dies, and I took them, and actually what I did is I took a white cardstock and I took Dusty Concord and peacock feathers and even some Kitsch Flamingo, and I blended it all together in a crazy, mad, fun way. And once that was done, I went and cut out a bunch of different butterflies from that paper. And so I used 2 of them here, and then I went over top of them with glossy accents. And that's card number 1. Life with you is beautiful. So moving on to card number 2, the other butterfly die that came in the kit, I had to use that. So again, we have purple, and this says hello you, which I absolutely love the font of these particular sayings, greetings with hello you and spring wishes. But yep, so I took another of this time this is a plaid paper, and it has the purple and blue tones to it, and I also mounted it. And this cardstock came with the kit, and this was this dark color, and I don't know what color that is. It's like a dark bluish purple. And then I also took, here's that paper where I blended the different colors with the Distress Oxides, and I took and cut out 3 of the butterflies. And what this particular die does is it cuts out the shape into the paper. So now we have a butterfly shape, almost like a reverse die cut. And I thought it was so beautiful. I added some gems from previous Love From Lizi kits on the center, and then I drew the little antenna. I also added a blue peel off, and then I just cut out a square with hello you and mounted it on the dark cardstock. And also this cardstock that is under the butterflies, I'm not sure if you can tell, is that beautiful cardstock specialty paper that we received in the kit, which is this. Absolutely beautiful. And then I added a little tag in the corner because I felt it was missing something. But there is card number 2. Hello you. Moving on to card number 3. Card number 3 is hello. And again, I used, this time we have the hexagon type pattern paper that came with the kit, and I mounted it on a blue cardstock. For the hello, what I did is the kit came with this really fun stencil, and I used Kitsch Flamingo mixed with a little bit of seedless preserves, very tiny bit, and I ended up getting this color. And then the hello that goes in the center came from these really fun square sentiment things. Anyway, they're beautiful, and they say things like love and thanks, enjoy the little things, oh happy day. And it was just wonderful to go through here and pick out a sentiment that matched. I used a couple of these in the kit, and I am also a scrapbooker and an art journaler, so these will come in so handy for me. Yeah, so I took the hello, and this time I didn't have a background on it. I just put it here. I did end up cutting a little bit around the edge of this. If you see, this fills up the card, and I wanted it to be smaller, so it looks like I cut about 1/4 of an inch on each side, or 1/4 of an inch on each side, just to make it smaller. And then on the bottom, I took some of the different pattern paper and made 3 banners and mounted those on the blue cardstock. I also took my blue and purple and pink butterfly from the previous work that I had done, and I cut out a couple butterflies from that beautiful shimmery paper, and so I put 2 up there, and then I used these that came in the kits for the dots here. I did think that they got squished a little, but maybe I hit it a few times, and this time I didn't hit it so much, so maybe that had an effect. But either way, I think they're pretty, and I love this card. This is probably one of my favorite cards. Actually, the first 2 are also my favorite cards. So next up, we have card number 4, and card number 4 is Hello Spring. This was a really super fast, easy card, but this has to be one of my favorite pattern papers that was included in the kit. I feel like I could sit there and draw and color and add to and try to recreate it myself. It was amazing. I loved that pattern paper. And then the Hello Spring was one of the cut aparts. So the kit came with quite a lot of cut aparts, and I still have some of them left, but so sometimes Life is Beautiful, or absolutely love this one. I'll probably use it in another card. And Springtime, and you'll notice it's a little bit smaller, so again I did cut it down maybe about 1/4 of an inch on each side, or on the side and on the top. And then I rounded the corners. I'm a big fan of rounded corners. I mounted it on some green cardstock, and I added 2 layers or 2 lines of the green ribbon. And then for some shine, I took my glossy accents and went over top of the watering can. And that was it. I didn't add anything else. Oh, I did go in with a white gel pen and added some of my own little accents to the card around the flowers, and that was a lot of fun. I like doing that. So that was card number 4. Card number 5 we need to talk about. Here's card number 5, and again, there's this really bold, beautiful flower background, and I actually followed a sketch for this one, and I'm not sure if I have that sketch handy. Here it is. It is Super Sketch SPD SS20, which is here. So I took the beautiful, big, bold flower backgrounds, and I mounted it on some pink cardstock, and I actually had a different You Make Me Happy, I think, is one I had here, and it was white. And then I added the 2 banners in the background, and I really like that they have the diagonal. Yeah, so I had the white, and then I took the purple one of these, and I added 3 dots this way. 1, 2, 3. And then my cats came in. So I don't know if you have cats, but my cats came in, and they were very curious what I was doing. And yeah, when I went to check on the card again, it was all smeared over here. So I thought, okay, well, I don't want to throw the card away. And so I took this yellow one, cut apart, which actually fit perfectly. And I had some butterflies. And then there was a little bit, the butterflies before were here, and it didn't work anymore with the butterfly here. So I had to move them. And when I did, I ripped a tiny bit. So I put these 3 little dots here. And so this card is one of those cases where it turns out different than what you thought and the way you thought you had a finished card. But It turns out, yeah, it changed. But I'm happy with it. And then this pink little butterfly is really just the pink cardstock that's behind here. And I went and took a Posca pen and added some dots to it to mimic this butterfly here. So this is card number 5, and it doesn't have a sentiment. I'll probably add something when it's time. And card number 6 also uses some of my favorite paper. I think I'm going to say that the whole time. So this is card number 6. It's Spring Wishes. It's a very bright light. So here I love pattern paper that has the words across, and so I put the words up here, and then I used this pattern paper on the bottom, and I mounted both on the pink cardstock. I think this pink came in the kit, and there's also the pink that I used on the other card. I stamped the flowers that came in the stamp set, which is here. I don't know what flower that is, but I love it. So beautiful. And then I colored it using my Copex, and these are the colors that I used. I used RV19, RV04, R37 for some really dark, and RV17. So those are the Copics that I used, and I colored them. Oh, and the green was G17 forest green. Oh, G17. There. I added a ribbon from the kit to separate between the two. And at first I couldn't decide if I was going to have like a bow or a ribbon, but I ended up going with the flowers. And then I added some sparkle from, this is a Spectrum Noir sparkle pen. And then I added 3 center gems, 3 gems in the center of each flower. And then for the sentiment, I used Spring Wishes, and this particular ink comes from the little ink cubes we got in the previous kit, maybe 2 kits ago. And so it was emerald, I think, Versamark emerald, and I embossed it, and then I mounted it on some of this pink cardstock. And again, I used the pink of these for 2 little dots on each side, the right and the left. And this is card number 6. So this is card number 7. And this one is a little bit different. But I'm using that purple paper again that I used on the first card. And since I had cut it at a diagonal, I wanted to use it here. And I wanted the top to kind of have these little flowers. And so I used, again, from the stamp set, we have this little tiny flower here. And I used Twisted Citron and Milled Lavender to stamp little tiny flowers there, but it's a very pale. Sometimes I would use the second or third impression instead of the first impression, so I could get just a very pale texture going on. And then Lizzie included this beautiful, which I'm going to have lots of fun with in my art journaling, mesh that's got sparkles in it. And so I bunched some up and put it behind the sentiment. Oh, I forgot. I also took this green stripe and I separated it with 2 green peel-offs. And then for this sentiment, I again used one of the lovely little squares. This one says, I love you. And I mounted it on some green cardstock. And then for the flower, I don't know if you could tell, but I've also used glossy accents for the flower and a little bit of shimmer pen on this little flower down here. And then I used glossy accents actually to glue this on the behind the sentiment, and I propped that up using foam squares. So this is card number 7, I love you. And then card number 8, I think this was my favorite cut apart, and it was the earth laughs in flowers, and I absolutely love that quote. I don't know where it comes from. I've heard it before, and I also do bujo, and I've used it in my bujo before, so I absolutely love it though. And I love the dark background here with the flowers shaping it all around. So I took this yellow paper though, and the pattern paper, and it has little tiny beautiful little spring flowers on it, and mounted it on some of this dark blue purpley cardstock. And then I cut this out and mounted that as well, except what I wanted to do is create a drop shadow, and so the border doesn't go all the way around, it just goes on the bottom here and here. And I did that by cutting them the same size and then just shifting one on top of the other. I added a white ribbon around the top and then tied a little bow. And I like that this one's a little wonky, so the leg here is longer than this one. And then I cut out my the watering can, which was also here in the stamp, and colored that using the forest green pen again. Then I blended those together. So that's my, and then I also went through with a little tiny micron and added some dots around the watering can. And this is card number 8. Oh, I did do more than 10. Oh. This is another one of my favorite cards, and it says hello you, and I probably should have used the spring one, but it doesn't matter. I love the little umbrellas. Aren't they so cute? So I took the pattern paper and mounted it on green cardstock. This is green that from my stash, so I don't know the name of it. And then I took that purple paper where I did the embossing before with I had left over, and I cut it 2 different sizes, a smaller size here and a thicker size here. And then I edged it with this Love From Lizi wave peel-offs. I absolutely love those. And these are green with a shine to them. And I did this one because I was saying to myself when I was doing them, you know, I never use circles. Why don't I use circles? And so I said, the next card I'm going to use a circle. So here's the circle, and I used hello you. It's embossed with just clear embossing on versified black ink. This scallop is one of Lizzie's dies. It came in a previous kit, and so I cut out the circle and then put the scallop, the green scallop behind it. And this little umbrella was on one of the cut aparts, and I cut it out and used it here. And I didn't want any other embellishments here, although now that I'm thinking about it, I want to put little raindrops on the umbrella, right? Like it's raining. So I'm going to do some glossy accents, and then when I do the glossy accents, I'm going to take a little tiny needle and I'm just going to like so we have some rain on the umbrella, because it's so much fun. Okay, so that was card number 9. Card number 10. Card number 10 is love, and the blue background paper is more pattern paper from Lizi, and I put it on this pink cardstock. And I took another one of the little tiny dies that came with the kit. There were all these little flower dies that did the same thing that the butterfly die does, and it cuts it out of the paper, so you're left with the impression of the flower. And so I did that, and actually behind here, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, I took my shimmer pen and I colored it so that it would shimmer in the background, and then I put 3 little dots here in the center of the tulips. I actually had them on top, but I liked it better in the center. Across the way here, I have another piece of the pattern paper, and it was this beautiful watercolor. There was one that was more blue and one that was more pink, and so I took the pink one to kind of create this nice soft pastel-y background, and then I lined it with Love From Lizi peel-offs. I think these are the rose gold that I absolutely love. And then I just took this really beautiful love sentiment and put it right in the center. And I thought that was, oh my gosh, I loved it. So there we go. Card number 10, love. But then I wasn't done. So I kept going. And so here's 2 bonus cards. And this is card number 11. This is probably one of my favorites. And again, I took the rest of this pattern paper with the words on it, and I mounted it on some pink cardstock. And then I took these, I had leftover strips of these 2 pattern papers, and I just glued them together. But again, I went with the angle, and then sticking with the, oh, I don't do circles, so I'm going to do an oval now. And I really wanted to use this beautiful shiny shimmery paper, and so I cut out an oval with that and embossed it with spring wishes, and I mounted that on pink cardstock. And I also have 2 more of my beautiful flowers, still using the same Copic colors, and I put a little tiny banner here. Then I also went in, and Lizi has these iridescent heart peel-offs, and they fit perfectly over the hearts that was on this paper. And so I took the hearts, and anywhere I saw a heart, I put one of those peel-offs. And you could probably get the same effect taking a shimmer pen, but it was a lot of fun, and I love this. I think this is also my favorite card. I think I have like 5 favorite cards. All right, card number 12. Again, I used this really long sentiment just like I did on the love card. This sentiment was sunshine and happiness. And I had this green. I didn't really have any card with a real strong green background, but I really loved it. And I thought of spring, and so I had to use it. And I mounted it on a dark pink border, and then I took the sunshine and happiness cut apart and also mounted that on a dark pink border, and then the 2 pink pastel-y polka dotted papers I put also on a dark pink border, and I had one going one way and one going the other way. And then I just put this across, and I had a bow left over from another. I think I was going to use a bow on this one first, and then I decided to use the flowers. So then I had this bow, and I thought, oh, it'll go perfect here. So I put the bow there, and then I also used 3 of these little gems that came in the kits for just 3 of the center of the flowers here. And this is card number 12. So there you have it. These are all of the cards from that I made using the Love From Lizi April 2023 card kit, and it was a lot of fun. It made me think of spring, especially here because I'm in Sweden, and Oh my God. So yesterday it was like 16 degrees outside, and today it's -3. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to think of spring and to play with flowers and to play with all the beautiful colors in the kits. And now this is 30 minutes, and I appreciate you hanging out with me and checking out my cards. Please let me know in the comments below which one is your favorite, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.